Skill trees are here, and with them come a lot of never-before-seen abilities. Here is a brief overview of all of the new abilities introduced within the trees. If you'd like to see a specific character's abilities, check out the description for timestamps. Starting off with Veteran, their first Blitz ability is an improvement of their default Frag Grenades. Shredder Frag Grenades apply 6 stacks of bleed to all targets hit by the explosion. Krak Grenade gives the Veteran 2 powerful grenades that deal massive damage and stick to flak armor, carapace armor, and unyielding enemies. Smoke Grenade gives the Veteran 3 grenades that creates a smoke cloud for 10 seconds, blocking line of sight and reducing the sight lines of enemies caught inside the cloud. The Survivalist aura improves the default Scavenger aura by boosting the ammo recovery from 0.75 to 1%. The Fire Team aura boosts the damage output of your entire team by 3%. The Close and Kill aura boosts the movement speed of your entire team by 5%. Executioner's Stance improves the default Volley Fire combat ability by also highlighting elite and special enemies for 5 seconds on activation. Its ability modifier nodes, which are optional nodes that further improve the ability it modifies, includes highlighting enemies for your entire team, refreshing the highlight on a highlighted enemy kill, and outlining all ranged enemies. Voice of Command replenishes your toughness and staggers and knocks down enemies who are within 9 meters from you. This effect occurs in a 360-degree radius around you, and you can hold the active ability button to see a visual indicator of its range. Its ability modifier nodes includes granting you and your allies 50 extra toughness, as well as the ability to revive downed allies at the cost of a reduced radius and increased cooldown timer. Infiltrate replenishes your toughness to full and makes you invisible to all enemies for 6 seconds, granting 25% movement speed for the duration. Attacking cancels the invisibility, but causes nearby enemies to become suppressed. Its ability modifier nodes includes reduced threat, extra damage, a boost in toughness damage reduction upon leaving stealth, or an additional charge of your combat ability at the cost of an increased cooldown timer. Zealot's first Blitz ability is an improvement of their default stun grenades. Stunstorm Grenades increases the blast radius of the grenades by 50%. Immolation Grenades leave a thick layer of fire on the ground, dealing damage and stagger over time. This kind of grenade is most effective against unarmored enemies and is least effective against carapace armor. Blade of Faith replaces Zealot's grenades with throwing knives. These are fast-firing and accurate weapons that deal a decent amount of damage on body shots and a very large amount on headshots, and are less effective against carapace armor overall. They have a sharp drop-off after a second of travel time, and upon killing an elite or special enemy with a knife, you gain that knife back. Knives are considered ammunition and are replenished through ammo pickups, not grenade pickups. The Benediction aura improves the default Emperor's Will aura by boosting the damage reduction from 7.5 to 15%. The Beacon of Purity aura heals corruption for you and your allies every second while they are within coherency. The Loner aura is a more selfish aura, making you count as being with at least 2 other people at all times. Fury of the Faithful improves the default Chastise the Wicked ability by also granting you 20% increased attack speed for 10 seconds after you dash, and its ability modifier node gives you 2 charges of your ability instead of just 1. Chorus of Spiritual Fortitude allows Zealot to pray, granting allies immunity to stun and invulnerability, as well as sending out a maximum of 5 pulses. Every pulse replenishes toughness to you and nearby allies, and will increase your maximum toughness for a time if you or an ally are already at their maximum toughness. You can cancel the prayer early by hitting the combat ability key again, and its ability modifier nodes include allowing each pulse to stagger and suppress nearby enemies, as well as either granting damage reduction or granting extra damage after fully channeling your prayer. Shroudfield allows Zealot to enter invisibility for 3 seconds, while also increasing their move speed and doubling their backstab damage, weak spot damage, and crit chance. Its ability modifiers include replenishing toughness and gaining damage reduction after exiting invisibility, and either increasing the invisibility time to 6 seconds, or granting additional damage at the cost of the ability cooldown timer being doubled. Zealot's Keystone Abilities, which are new additions to Darktide that serve as a way to further separate and define your builds, are as follows. Blazing Piety grants you the ability to enter Fury, which triggers after 25 enemies have died within 25 meters of you, and while in Fury, you gain 15% increased crit chance. Its ability modifier nodes include allowing allies to benefit from Blazing Piety's crit chance, gaining additional crit chance, and either allowing critical strikes to charge your Fury, or replenishing toughness when you gain Fury. Martyrdom grants you 8% extra melee damage for each missing wound. Its ability modifiers include also granting extra toughness damage reduction and attack speed per missing wound. Inexorable Judgement allows you to gain momentum, which you gain as you move. When you hit an enemy, all stacks are expended and gives you 1% attack speed and damage per stack up to a max of 20. Its ability modifiers include replenishing toughness for each stack and gaining 3 momentum after a successful dodge. OGRYN's first Blitz ability is Big Friendly Rock, which gives OGRYN a big old rock to hurl. These are less effective against Carapace armor units but automatically replenish after 60 seconds. You are unable to reload your rocks through any pickups while using this Blitz. Bombs Away improves their default big box of hurt. Whenever you hit an enemy, the box will open and drop 6 grenades around the target for extra AoE damage. Frag Bomb gives the OGRYN a single, unbelievably powerful bomb that deals more damage the closer enemies are to the center of the blast. Bonebreaker's aura improves the default Intimidating Presence aura by increasing the damage from 7.5 to 10%. The Stay Close aura increases the toughness regeneration speed by 20% for you and your allies. The Coward Culling aura increases the damage you and allies deal to suppressed enemies by 20%. Indomitable improves the default Bull Rush ability by allowing you to charge through all enemies except monstrosities. Its ability modifiers include replenishing toughness for each enemy hit during the charge, and either applying bleed stacks to enemies hit or gaining stacks of trample, increasing your damage for 8 seconds. Loyal Protector taunts the enemies within 8 meters, forcing them to attack you for 15 seconds. Its ability modifiers include increasing its radius by 50% and either allowing you to replenish its cooldown via staggering enemies or forcing all enemies taunted by you to take increased damage. Point Blank Barrage automatically swaps to and reloads your ranged weapon, giving you additional reload speed and fire rate for 10 seconds. Its ability modifiers include replenishing toughness when firing and reloading, and either applying burn, gaining rending, or gaining damage and braced movement speed during your ability. For his Keystone Abilities, his first is Heavy Hitter, which grants extra damage after every heavy attack. Its modifiers include gaining attack speed, replenishing additional toughness, and refreshing the timer when performing light attacks. Feel No Pain grants you 10 stacks, which each give additional toughness replenishment speed and damage reduction, losing 1 stack every time you take health damage and gaining a new one every 6 seconds. Its modifiers include granting additional toughness replenishment per stack, knocking back enemies after reaching 0 stacks, and replenishing stacks via pushing enemies. Burst Limiter Override grants a 5% chance to not consume ammo when you make a ranged attack. Its modifiers include increasing your Lucky Bullet proc chance to 8%, guaranteeing crits, and tripling your ability cooldown rate upon proccing Lucky Bullet. PSYKER's first Blitz ability is an improvement of their default Brain Burst. Brain Rupture deals an additional 50% damage when brain bursting. Its modifiers include having a chance to brain burst a target when making any attack against them, and increasing charge speed and reducing peril generation when you use your combat ability. Smite gives Psykers the ability to channel Biolightning at their targets, either to a single target or to multiple targets depending on how you charge it. Its modifiers include increasing the number of enemies your lightning affects and forcing enemies to take increased damage while targeted by your lightning. Assail gives Psykers homing shards of pure energy to throw at their enemies. These shards are inherently less effective against carapace enemies, and you can target a specific enemy by holding right-click. Its modifiers include additional piercing and an increased charge rate for shards. The Kinetic Presence aura increases the damage you and allies deal versus elite and special enemies by 10%. The Seer's Presence aura improves the default The Quickening aura by increasing the cooldown reduction you and allies gain. The Prescience aura gives you and allies an additional 4% crit chance. Venting Shriek improves the default Psychonetic's Wrath ability by also venting Peril. Its modifiers include temporarily decreasing peril generation for each enemy hit, and either dealing direct damage or applying stacks of soul blaze to enemies. Telekinetic Shield allows the Psyker to spawn a shield that blocks all ranged fire from enemies, while allowing you and allies to still shoot through it. Its modifiers include either giving the shield a chance to stun enemies that walk through it and increasing its base charges, or changing the shield to a dome that replenishes toughness to those who are inside it. Scryer's Gaze allows the Psyker to enter a Zen-like state. While active, the Psyker's peril will constantly rise, but they will gain extra damage and crit chance as long as they remain within the gaze. Killing enemies while in the gaze will slow down the buildup of peril. Its modifiers include an increase in movement speed, toughness damage reduction, and either a reduction in peril generation or gaining finesse damage and stacks of damage when you get weak spot kills. Warp Siphon is Psyker's first Keystone ability, which grants you a warp charge when you kill an elite or special unit. For every charge you have, the cooldown of your next combat ability is reduced and your charges are consumed. Its modifiers include increasing damage per warp charge, raising the maximum warp charges, and either replenishing toughness on gaining charges or reducing peril generation per warp charge, and either gaining warp charges when allies in coherency kill enemies, or gaining charges when killing enemies with Soul Blaze. Empowered Psionics gives the Psyker a chance to empower their next Blitz whenever they kill an enemy. The type of empowerment depends on the Blitz you are using. Its modifiers include replenishing toughness on combat ability activation, holding 3 stacks of Psionics, and either gaining a guaranteed proc of Psionics on elite kills, or increasing the chance to gain Psionics from any kill. Finally, Disrupt Destiny has a chance of marking enemies within 25 meters, and killing this marked enemy grants a plethora of boons. Its modifiers include adding a chance to quell peril when killing marked targets, gaining additional stacks on weak spot kills, and either increasing the maximum amount of precision stacks or increasing the duration of Disrupt Destiny. This is admittedly a lot of information, so if you're feeling overwhelmed, don't worry. If you'd like a more simplified version on how skill trees work, be sure to check out my skill tree overview video down in the description below. If you're seeing this video on the day that it releases, I'll be doing a live stream over on my Twitch channel to give you an exclusive, in-depth look at skill trees live and answer any questions in real time. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you there.